All right, my friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing you some honest astrology about this solar eclipse new moon that we're having in the sign of Aquarius. Our sun and our moon are in the sign of Aquarius. Our north node is in Pisces, south node is in Virgo. So this is a very unique and interesting eclipse as it's straddling two different signs and two ages, a 2,100-year-old cycle coming into this next 2,000-year-old cycle, 2,000-year cycle. So the important thing I want to talk about, I put out a video last week. It's a bit longer video. This is going to be a little bit shorter, condensed video. And I want to talk about the I am statements, or I statements in astrology. Here we have, let me see. Let me come in closer for you. Here we go. Aries is I am. Taurus is I have. Gemini is I think. Cancer is I feel, or emotions. Leo is I will. Virgo, I analyze. Libra, I balance. Scorpio is I desire. Sagittarius is I see. Capricorn is I utilize. And then here's our money for this astrology and for the next 1,000, 2,000 years. I know Aquarius and I believe Pisces. Now these two don't mesh. These two do not intertwine with another. You either know or you believe. It's not both. You know that a square is 90 degrees. You don't have to believe a square is 90 degrees. You know a square is 90 degrees. It is a factual reality. You can believe what you don't know, but what you know is not a belief. Now that's extremely important coming into this eclipse, coming into today's energy, and moving forward with our lives. Now you can believe in yourself. You know yourself. We are learning ourselves as human beings here on this planet. And we can believe in our prosperity. We can believe in our goals. We can believe in our visions because they haven't come to fruition. These aren't things that are tangible in front of us. Okay? Belief and know do not intersect. So we have a 2,000-year-old cycle of Pisces, 2,160-year-old age of Pisces, where we believed in religion, we believe the story of Jesus. And some people say they know Jesus. You know your parents. You don't believe in your parents. People believe in Jesus because they don't know Jesus. Now I know they're going to get some pushback here. And it's like, you don't know this person's voice. You don't know their real face. You don't know the warmth of their embrace because they don't exist. It's just a figment of people's imaginations. That's a story that's passed down and passed down and passed down to offer comfort, to offer peace of mind in uncertainty and hard times. And back thousands of years ago, we created a blood sacrifice. We offered a lamb, a ram, a goat. And before the age of Pisces, we offered a human being, a blood sacrifice to God or the gods to alleviate ourselves from sin. We know that that's ridiculous. We don't need to create a human sacrifice. We don't need to create a blood sacrifice and slaughter a lamb, a ram, or a goat so that the Creator will accept us, the creation. That is a fabrication told to us over time to keep us in check, to keep us in order. Now, we know, Aquarius, that we've been seeing sacrificial, ritualistic blood sacrifices happening within the world governments. We know that that's not okay. We know that that's not good. Anybody knows this, and we've seen it time and time again coming up with these releases of the Epstein files. These blood sacrifices are not okay, and they never were. So we created a story. We borrowed from Dionysus, who turned water into wine and was a sun god, right? And rose and died. And Osiris and Isis, who died and rose again. And Horus, who died and rose again. And Jesus, who died and rose again. And the sun, who dies and rises again. So we're in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of knowing. The age of technology, information and community, where through technology, we can connect with humanity, we can connect with the society at large and share and spread knowledge at a lightning fast rate and pace faster than we could ever in history. And Aquarius is about the great awakening, the great revelations, the breakthroughs, the aha moments, the straw that broke the camel's back, the lightning strike, the earthquake, the volcano eruption. This is all the energy of Aquarius. Now, we've had a story that's been holding on to us for thousands of years. And this story is just like the snake that's shedding its skin. This is shedding its skin, whatever, wants to be up. Pop the collars, baby. The snake is shedding its skin just as we're shedding the skin of the story. We don't need this story anymore. And there was a point in time humanity needed the story of Jesus because we were constantly creating blood sacrifices. We're slaughtering lambs and goats and rams and sheep and all these things. So we understood that this was an epidemic, that we had to create a solution for the confused minds of the individuals that are doing these in order to get, back in good graces with their God. So Constantine and the other individuals that understood astrology, they understood the ages, they created the story and said God created his only son, and his only son God killed for you to alleviate you of your sins. And then 3 days later, the son was born again, rose again on December 25th. Now we know that the sun dies for 3 days after the winter solstice on December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, and then rises on December 25th. We know that that's the story. And we know that that's reality. We know that that's truth. And it's just about us letting go of the belief that that was a reality. And it's coming into the honesty of where we're at in humanity. The honesty. And taking a look at what was good for us, just like training wheels on a bicycle. They're really good for you at a certain age of your life. Or if you're, you just had an injury and you're relearning to ride your bike again, training wheels are wonderful. But then when you're ready to really ride your bike and go, take it into the woods or go mountain biking or whatever, you got to take those training wheels off because they're going to hold you back. The same thing goes with this story. The story was extremely useful for humanity to alleviate ourselves of the concept that we had to create a blood sacrifice and slaughter a living creature in order to get on good graces with God. What a wild thing that humanity used to deal with or do before we are in this current ages. So we don't have to do that anymore, and we can recognize that the judgments, although Christianity was a lack of judgment. Why? Because Pisces is a lack of judgment. Virgo is judgment. Pisces is about forgiveness and belief. So Pisces being this lack of judgment, on the shadow side is judgment. So what we see in the United States, what we see around the world, if you don't believe in my religion, I'm angry at you. If you don't believe the thing that I believe, then I'm going to judge you, even though the judgment is the exact opposite thing that we're supposed to be doing, or the exact opposite thing that the Christians are supposed to be doing. They do it anyway. So this says, okay, these are the rules, and if you don't follow these rules, if you enjoy these aspects of sexuality, if you enjoy these aspects of exploring the mind through substances or psychedelics or plants even, that you're bad, or there's all these things, there's all these judgments. And the right way to pray and the right way to go about this and it's just like, can we let this go? Can we let it go? We know that this version that we're telling ourselves isn't true. We know that this person never existed on this planet. And there's so much proof. And then people can believe and convince themselves of anything. And they say, oh, well, no, his name wasn't Jesus. It was Jeshua, which Jeshua means Joseph. Or Joshua. It means Joshua in Hebrew. So it's like, so we're just changing the person's name. We're just changing it to fit whatever story that we want to believe. We're making it whatever we want to believe. And right now, with this shedding of the skin, this the unveiling of the horse year, with this eclipse being in Aquarius, the place of knowing, and the nodes being in this place of belief and analyzing, right? Removing the disillusionment. And coming into this knowing, because that's where the nodes are headed. The North Node is coming into knowing. We know that Santa Claus isn't a real person. We know that it's your mom and dad. They're going to give you coal for being a bad kid, or they're going to give you presents for being a good kid. And that story was used to make you act accordingly. Act appropriately, child. Don't do something bad that's going to, same thing. Do good in this life, child. Don't do something bad that's going to create these ripples or whatnot. So it's just like about living a good life, but then that really basic good principle of living a good life, or turning the other cheek, having faith, like these things are all very good and necessary things, but when they're used to control people, when they're used to keep people oppressed and down, that's when we have to, relieve ourselves of this story, relieve ourselves of this belief, and step into the cold, hard truth of knowing. And that knowing. And this is that knowing. This is that great revelation. This is the great awakening. And what other ways, aside, let's get away from like this religion for a moment. What ways are we lying to ourselves? What ways are we because what we believe becomes a reality, and that's real, right? What we feed our minds is fuel to our minds and fuels what happens here in the third dimension. Now, just because we believe something, I believe in a 6-legged monster with wings and 17 eyes, it's not going to manifest, right? So that same concept of, see, Aaron, you just said what you believe is reality. It's just like, no, that's never going to manifest. And we've never seen the bones or the structures of these monsters from the Bible, right? We've never found these fossils, but we've found dinosaurs and birds and all these other things. We've never found any of these crazy mythical creatures from the Bible, because they don't exist. So even if I'm manifesting that doesn't mean it's real. So what ways are we manifesting or feeding and fueling our minds of beliefs that are affecting our third dimension, that are affecting this physical plane of reality? Am I talking kindly to myself? Am I telling myself that I'm worthy, I'm enough, I'm pretty smart, handsome, beautiful, charming, lovely, worthy of love, worthy of acceptance, worthy of being a person, worthy of communicating, worthy of taking up space, I'm worthy of taking up volume? Yeah, these are all important things that we need to know, that we have to get out of a belief system. If we have an unhealthy belief with ourselves, that we shouldn't be taking up space, that we shouldn't be creating volume, that we're not worthy of love, that we're never going to find happiness, or that this is the way that men are, this is the way that women are. That's like this is all this belief, and I say that stuff quite often because the North Node is in Pisces. We have to alleviate ourselves of this belief, because if we believe it, then it becomes a reality in our own temples, in our own beings. It becomes a reality. It doesn't make it a reality for those outside of our temple. It only makes it a reality internally. And then how we live internally affects how we're living externally. We won't approach that person with confidence. We'll approach them that we're annoying them, or, hey, sorry to be a bother to you, but this thing that I do and the thing that you do, I think we could work together. But I understand if you don't want to do that, right? So it's like we're preemptively putting something, planting a seed that we're not worthy of their time and attention. But they might really love the exact thing that you're offering and doing. But because you have a perspective, a filter in your lens that's saying, oh, I'm living small or whatnot. So this is a healthy balance. And then, right, what's aside across the way in Leo here is our egos. And it's the way that you move, the way that you the clothes that you wear, why that you listen to the music that you listen to. There's a healthy balance of our ego. There's a healthy balance of the way that we dance and do things, because we want to dance, because we love doing it, not because I want to be seen dancing. Yeah. So there's a healthy aspect of our egos. This is on the shadow side of this eclipse, because the moon and the sun are together in Aquarius. So it's highlighting the opposite side of this ego part, where we can let our egos down to where you say, okay, this person doesn't believe in the God that I believe in. This person doesn't believe in the faith that I believe in. Do I have to, what is this? Does it hurt my ego? It's just like we can leave our egos out of this, and we can just look at information. That's what these air signs are about, is about information. We can look at the knowledge subjectively. Objectively, subjectively, we can look at the knowledge without bringing emotion to it. That's the point. We don't have to bring our emotions into it. And I mean, this can hurt us, and we're letting go of something. We're letting go of a belief. We're letting go of a belief system or a structure that we've held on to, which is the same as pruning the branches. And the tree is going to grow, and it's going to build these beautiful branches out. And when it's necessary, when this branch no longer serves the tree, it's not emotional. It's got to go. And the tree lets it go. And it crashes into the yard, or it crashes into the down into the cement, whatever it may be. You know, it's letting this stuff go. So in ourselves, are there beliefs that we're holding on to that we need to let go? Is there a conflict internally of a belief and a knowing? Is there a conflict internally of a belief and a knowing? And what do you really want? What do you really want and desire in life? And this is how we're going to manifest this. It's like, what do you really want? And if what you really want, if you have a belief that says, I don't know if I can really get that, I don't know if I really can do that, well, we can break free. We can use this energy of this eclipse, this Uranian energy, which is in Taurus, which is like slow structures. You know, it's just like breaking free of these slow old, and Taurus deals with patriarchy. And of course, what does the patriarchy deal with but old religions? So we're breaking free of some of these old concepts, these old religions, these old ideas that are holding us back, not only on a large global level, but on an internal mental level. And things that we can do, talk kindly to yourself. I was just with a friend yesterday and claiming how terrible they are at playing the flute. We had a little jam session over here, and it's just like, no, you're learning the flute, you know, you're learning just as anything. But the more we speak that kind of stuff into our existence, we're solidifying it in the grand universe of the genie that says, your wish is my command. You suck at the flute. You're never going to be able to play that singing bowl without making it ring. You're never going to be able to play the drum. You know what I mean? We got to be able to, we have to know that we have to talk kindly to ourselves, and know it's not coming from a place of ego, but coming from a place of knowing and a place of believing in ourselves, because that believing does create. So you see how that does work, but at the same time, like these are like, it's like electrons, you know, it's like my finger is not going to lead into my other finger because the electrons build up first. So this is the same with belief and knowing. Where you have the belief, the knowing comes in and it kind of builds up. I think you get where we're going here, friends. Belief versus knowing. What's going on in your world that you can let go of an old belief that no longer serves you and step into the knowing of who you are. And allowing and accepting yourself for who you are, where you're at, loving and appreciating yourself, and just taking it each day one step at a time. That's what it's all about. And until then, I love you. I wish you enough, and we'll see you next time. Happy solar eclipse, friends.